Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mike Butler.
And I'm Mike Field.
And welcome to Forgotten Cinema Now Showing. Each episode, we highlight a brand new release. We'll discuss what we love about the movie or perhaps don't love about it, but don't take our word for it. Go see the movie for yourself. How you doing? How's it going?
How are you? Oh, should I do the same thing you do?
It's up to you. I mean, were you also?
That's not
you
my,
also start
that's not my thing.
Well, I'll tell you how I'm
thing.
I just got back from Chicago working for Al Capone. Came back down to my hometown, Mississippi, to open a juke joint. You know, some fun in the front, some gambling in the back, money's changing hands, front and back. You know, it's going to be a good time. But you know, gosh darn it, the kid I hired, my own cousin, to play the blues for this juke joint, is inviting the souls of his ancestors and an evil vampire intent on turning, well, maybe evil vampire, but a vampire nonetheless intent on turning everyone into vampires, creating his own new brood, and connecting with his ancestors, which is causing a whole lot of problems. And let me tell you, I don't think I'm getting any return customers.
So one thing I can't stand about Mississippi, all the damn vampires. Yeah. So I mean, this is obviously a Now Showing, so we don't usually do the whole. If you've been part of the Now Showing episodes, you know that we don't do the whole, you know, the main show kind of stuff. I'm not going to sit here and give you facts and stuff like that. Hopefully you're going to go see this film in the theaters, but I'm sure it's going to be on digital. I would say by the end of May.
Easily by the end of May. Yeah.
The way the modern cinema works today. So like we'll try to just go around and just kind of like do our first thoughts. And I guess we don't usually do this for the Now Showings, but I guess we usually see these in the former place of business that we both work, the movie theater. Mm-hmm. What was the first thing that we both noticed when the movie started? Do you remember?
Oh, the trailers don't have the.
Well, that was one. That wasn't what I was talking about. Yes, yeah, the trailers didn't have. For some, we must not have been to the theaters in a while because they did not have any of the green bands on front of the trailers. Just ran like they were commercials.
We've been watching really IMAX movies back to back to back. I think the last regular movie we saw was Nosferatu, which I think really off-putting. But yeah, it's a little weird.
No, what was the problem that we noticed? How about that? There was a problem with the film that we watched. Remember, I pointed at it. You were like, "Yep."
Oh, it was askew. It was going onto the curtains, bleed onto the curtains.
It was not on the screen properly. There was a little piece like just it was obviously like pushed over. So like there was granted, it was maybe like 12 inches, maybe a little bit more, maybe a couple feet.
It was maybe a foot, but when you're watching
on the curtain,
it bothered me for a little bit at the beginning, and then I kind of.
It bothers me. I mean, I did too. You get into the movie and you kind of just forget that, but still, it's not presented in the proper way, and I cannot stand that. I mean,
it's time for you to go back
down that road.
No, you gotta go back. You gotta go back down that road.
Oh, what do you mean, work there?
Yeah, you gotta set them straight.
Oh. No, I mean, just have people that like appreciate movies and want to give a good experience for everyone else there. Make sure that it's on the screen properly. I mean, regardless of that, I will calm down. We could talk about performances. We can talk about what we thought about the film, the direction style. I don't want to just go right into, hey, what'd you think, man? Did you like it? Did you love it? Because I'm sure
let's start with this is a Now Showing for Ryan Coogler's Sinners.
We haven't even. You did the opening.
I did the opening, but I never say the title. You go, that's right, we're doing Sinners.
Whatever. Go ahead.
That's what I got.
All right. Yes, we're doing the 2025 film Sinners that came out April 18th. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. Yeah. So written and directed by Ryan Coogler, starring Michael B. Jordan.
And Michael B. Jordan.
And Michael B. Jordan. And Hailee Steinfeld. Steinfeld? That's how she is? Yes.
I think Steinfeld, yeah.
Like an old man. How do you say a name?
What's that?
Jack O'Connell as the bad guy, as Remick.
And introducing Miles Caton or Caton.
Yes. Who has a definitive voice.
Yes.
Obviously serves him well when he's singing. So Mike, we've seen our fair share of vampire films.
Yes.
This is, I guess I'll just start off with this. This is as I remove cobwebs from my wall. This is a vampire film that doesn't get to a lot of the vampire action until the last 30 minutes of the film.
Right.
What did you think of that choice?
At the very beginning, we must have been about 30 minutes into the film, maybe a little less. I was getting a little antsy. I was kind of like, all right, let's get the vampires going, probably about the time right before they start opening up the juke joint. I was like, all right, we spent enough time outside there. Let's go. But and like, I think it was right before that, or maybe even during, like we went to get pizza before we watched the movie, and it might've been while we were eating pizza or while we were waiting for the movie to start. I talked about how, we talked about Until Dawn, and I hated the trailer because it's like in modern horror movies, they don't give you any time to care about the characters, or they just don't have you care about the characters to the point where you actively hate them and root for them to die. And I always said it should be the case that you want good kills, but you're still mad or disappointed that the character you're watching dies. You should be like, get out. But when he gets killed and it's cool, you're like, oh. And Sinners, gotta hand it to him, does a fantastic job of setting up these characters, their hopes, their dreams, their backstories, who they are, in a really great way. And I think we'll get into like the vampire. The action at the end is a little busy. I think we both have that same kind of opinion, or I think we did right off the bat anyway. But I think that they do a great job setting it up, even though you are waiting a good hour and a half, hour 40 minutes to get to that action, to get to the vampire meat and potatoes of the vampire movie. But I think it serves them well. I think it tells a great story. So I'm okay with it. Having watched the whole movie, I look back at the me that looked at his watch and went, oh man, can we get some vampires already? And I would tell him, just wait.
I think I would need a second watch just to kind of see if that anticipation, or that build up, there's a lot of character, which I always appreciate. If that still holds up in a second watch, knowing what's coming, because it's a lot different when you don't know something's coming, but you don't know what it is.
Right.
So you're kind of anticipating, okay, well, like what's going to happen? But like when you know what's going to happen, then when you watch it a second or third time, you kind of focus more on that opening stuff leading up to it. And if that holds up, then yeah, I would agree with you. I just don't know if I think I need it. Not that I don't, I need another watch of it to see if that really does work for me. I enjoyed all the stuff leading up to it. And to be fair, they never show any of the vampire kills until the end. Like you see like the aftermath in one part when he's in the house, when Remek's in the house with the couple, and he's like, right. He's just sleeping, and he gets up. And you kind of always see like you hear whispers of their names, and they turn, and then it cuts, and obviously that's where they're getting turned and stuff like that. That's even like right before they get into the juke joint.
Right.
But yeah, to your point, once they do get in, when the character invites, I can't remember her name. I think it's Helena. Is it Helena or is that the daughter? That might be.
The daughter's Lucy.
Okay, so that's the wife. When she just yells, invites them in.
Yeah.
And then they just charge in. I had a very difficult time just figuring out what was happening because it was so hectic and crazy.
Right.
And I swear I saw somebody get jumped on that and get killed. And I'm like, I don't even know if that person was if that's a person. That's a, you know what I mean? So I was really confused as to what was happening, because there wasn't a lot of them who were remaining inside the juke joint.
Right. It's like six of them against 30, 40 vampires. Yeah.
Yeah. And they take care of them pretty handily. Well, let's talk a little, because one of the things we both turned to each other when that happened, and because we're obviously have seen ton of vampire films, and more recently we saw Nosferatu for the now showing. The whole idea that you have to be invited in, but we were like, it usually has to be the owner of the house or the owner of the place that has to invite you in.
Right. Yeah. It can't just be anybody.
Right. So so we were kind of like, okay, but the rules aren't set up. So we're going on rules that are not in the movie that we're thinking about coming into the film. That's our baggage. That's not the movie's responsibility to make sure that our baggage is addressed. But there's one thing that they did here that I had never really, as far as I can remember, they did with the vampires in this film that they've done in any other vampire films. And that's the idea that it's a hive mind, the idea that he feels everything, like everybody who is infected feels everything. They're all an extension of Remick.
Oh, there are vampire things that have done that before.
Do they? Okay.
John Carpenter's Vampires does that.
Does it
where
really?
You're connected to the master and the master is seeing through you, but you're seeing through the master. That's how they use the girl to figure out
I never really
the
got
to,
I guess, but in this film, it was more.
They use it in a more emotional way.
Speaking through them.
Yeah.
Like
they definitely use it a little bit more powerfully this time.
Right. And the idea that, well, let me ask you this, because I'm diving into one of my questions. They make the point that you don't have to kill the vampire that turns you in order to save them. Like, you know what I mean? Like you have to kill every single one.
Yeah. Killing the master doesn't save any other vampires. Yeah.
Right. But when he hits the master at the end with the silver, they're all in pain. They're all matching his pain. So right. I'm curious why that's different. Why that part, they can feel that.
I guess to their connection, like they can feel his pain and they're so emotionally connected to the master. But that they can't be killed. Like it's just going to really hurt like hell. But once he dies, you're free from that pain.
Right.
And you're just like, whatever. That's what I gather. But you're right that they're setting up one thing, but then kind of showing you another and then kill him real quick. So you never get that kind of explanation.
Yeah. And again, to my same point before, that's again, I'm bringing baggage to this film. That's not this film's responsibility to make sure that that's satisfied. So this is the rules that they set up in this film are the rules that I should abide by. And I shouldn't really, I'm not complaining. I'm just asking a question. I'm doing my own research.
But at the same time, you're right to ask those questions because this is a world where vampires exist. They don't just go, oh man, look at these things. Like in a zombie movie where they don't know they're zombies and they call them weird, stupid names like walkers, which is dumb. Like they're vampires and they know of vampires. So like she's explaining the rules. Killing the master ain't going to kill anybody else. You stake them through the heart. Like go over the rest of the rules. Like let's know kind of a couple of the things, but just the invite thing, that's such a hole, the invite, because it's just what's stopping a vampire that's in there. What was stopping Smoke from inviting all the other vampires in when he was already inside? I just go, and once he's connected, he just be like, yo, everybody come on inside.
You mean Stack?
Stack was the one that was the one that gets it. Yeah. When Stack gets it. Yeah.
So what did you think about what performances? I mean, obviously, I think Michael B. Jordan obviously was really good as both Smoke and Stack, obviously, which I kind of like that wordplay. Who else jumped out at you that you really liked?
I really liked Miles Caton as Sammy. I think he did a great job, especially since it's like his first role, because I assume so, because it says introducing in it. I think like you said, he has an incredible voice. Like his blues song, I've been listening to it. Like I've already listened to it like 5 times throughout the day. I listened to it last night. I showed Elise. Like he's just got a great voice. He plays well. And I just think his character, the way he plays it, and maybe it's the way it's written. Maybe it's not even so much as acting. I just think that character is well written and well developed and is complex in his wants. That I thought he did a really, really good job. And then Hailee Steinfeld did a really good job as well, playing a character. Like I know she's been Hawk Girl or whatever, and she was in True Grit. She's great in True Grit, but she's like so tough and so different and so coarse in this movie. Like she really commands the screen, even against Michael B. Jordan's Smoke and Stack, who are very big, tough guys. Like she does a really good job standing up, like standing tall next to them.
Oh, when she. Well, people know we already spoil these things, but when she was turned, or even before that? Even
before that, when she's like, right when she approaches, does she approach Smoke or Stack? She's into Stack. It's Stack. When she approaches Stack in the train station, like right from there, girl staring at you, and he walks up. She walks right up to him to that moment in the bar where he's trying to kick her out of the bar, and she refuses to leave. Like her being a vampire obviously gives her a little extra, toughness. But I think even as a person, she was just a very formative character. I was very impressed with her work there. Yeah. And then Delroy Lindo, obviously, we've talked about it before. He's always really likable. Yeah, he shits his pants, and it's funny.
I think if I have any complaint, it's that the trailers just showed way too much. And again, I think we've had this conversation with Captain America: Brave New World, where I get why you reveal things because you want to get people in the theater. Yeah. So I understand that, but you reveal a lot of stuff in the trailer that just kind of
it's everything.
Yeah, there's his joke at the end is I like the beginning of the joke when he's like, "Do you guys smell that?"
Yeah,
that was funny. But knowing things already going in, you expect things to happen, and it kind of ruins the surprise of that. But again, I understand it's definitely a fine line because you want to get people in the theaters, you got to show something.
But they really show everything. When Hailee Steinfeld goes, "Oh, I'll go out and I'll go check to see if they've got gold, if they're good people." She's getting turned because you saw it in the trailer. Stack's getting turned because you saw it in the trailer. Once you knew that that she was his girl, you knew it was Stack who was getting turned. It's even at the end, you're like, "Oh, you turned to me," toward the last 5 minutes of the movie. You go, "Wow, they really showed everything in the trailer." I go, no, there's still one more scene because we got the machine gun scene from the trailer. And sure enough, that was the last scene, was the Tommy gun. Yeah. It's just it showed way too much. And for anybody who watches, I implore you, if you're watching this and you haven't seen the movie yet, which I don't know why you would, because we spoil things. Don't watch the trailer.
Oh, they've probably already seen it.
They probably already seen it to watch this. But it was awful.
Oh, the trailer.
I don't think there's any performances I didn't like. I also liked here we go. It's Annie. Annie's who I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Played by Wunmi. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing this name wrong. Wunmi Musaku plays Annie. I think she did a really good job as kind of the person explaining the other world. In a way, I thought she did a good job too. I don't know if she's any weak link.
He described smoke. So she's into hoodoo. That's what he said, because he does
says say
that.
this hoodoo. Yeah. So she's kind of our entry into the world.
Yes, I was going to say she is the person that is. She's in. I'm pretty sure she's in Loki, dude.
She is also in Loki. Yeah, she's one of the guards. Yep.
Yeah, she's the person that is kind of like you say, our entryway, our expo dump in terms of what's going on and who these vampires are and how to stop them and all that stuff.
Yeah, eat this garlic, all that. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually thought Delta Slim, which is Lindo's character, actually palmed the garlic when he put it in his mouth, because I was like, he didn't put that in his mouth, and I thought he was.
I was waiting for the heel turn, and turns out he was a vampire.
Yeah, that was really odd, that whole scenario, that whole segment, because they pick the guy up, take him out because he thinks that somebody bit him. And then they do the garlic thing, kind of like The Thing in the movie The Thing that we talked about on our look back, figuring out who was not saying who they were, if somebody was a vampire. It turned out it wasn't that, and it was whatever was on the floor. It was a jam or jelly or some kind of ketchup or something.
It was the Italian wine.
Right. And so then all to have this guy bang on the door to get pulled back again. It was really just that whole sequence was, I don't know if we needed that. I don't know if that was something that, I mean, it's a cool thing, but that seems like that's 15 minutes we didn't need just to have that jump scare.
I don't know if that was 15 minutes, but
okay.
I mean, it gives you
did I offend you? 10.
I don't even know if it was 10 minutes. I don't know. I like the garlic scene. Yeah, I don't think you need the guy that got eaten. He didn't need to do that part. Garlic scene was cool. I don't know if you needed, the sliced up guy, unless they brought him back in.
Well,
there was no need for him to just get eaten again. Mm-hmm. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, unless it was to make someone else feel guilty where it affects them later on, but it doesn't.
Well, yeah, I really, there's a lot of things that I need to watch the film again. I enjoyed the film. I enjoyed the watch. I liked it. It didn't disappoint. I like the performances, but I kind of want to see it again to really get a sense of the movie as a whole. That's kind of where I sit on it.
That's not what this is about. This is about you watching it the first.
Yeah. Okay. And I just said I need to see it again.
Like the third now showing where your review was, I need to see it again
because I like because first reactions aren't always the right reaction. It's very rare when you watch a movie for the first time. You're just like, yeah, this is it for me. This is it. This is great. You know, there's only very few films I can say that I did that. I usually just like want to watch it again. Some films that I didn't like in the theater and I see again. What was the movie? Man of Steel, where I was like, oh, I really kind of dig it now. That's how it's always going to be in the now showings with me. So get used to it.
That's great. Well, then we need a field second showing episode. You need to do a follow up after you watch it the second time.
Now showing again.
Now showing again with Mike Field. It sucks. I wasn't sure before, but now I know.
But now I'm positive. Positively bad.
What did you think about the mid-credit sequence?
I thought it was fun. I kind of like the idea that the vampires aren't completely soulless or what's up?
Dicks. Yeah.
Right. Like he made a promise to his brother and he lived, he lived up to it and kind of, I thought that was, and that it's like a respect kind of thing. So there's some honor there, there's some kind of, like that's just, and that's a little bit what you see in like Interview with a Vampire and other vampire films. There's some stuff like that. So they're not just mindless creatures that just feed and they don't care and whatnot. So no, I liked it. I thought I love the sweater that he's wearing. I love the 90s.
I love
that he's wearing
the brass knuckles that say stack.
Yeah, that's all good. I mean, I'm sure there are a ton of people being like, what happened? I want to know that story. What's going on? Like, is there going to be a Sinners 2 when they're in the 90s? Like, I want to know that. Like, I'm sure that's coming. I don't necessarily want to see that. I'm good with the story that we had because then I feel like you start doing sequels and you start kind of watering down, what's going on.
Ryan Coogler already said in an interview, somebody already asked him. I had read it earlier that he was like, no, I made this movie as a complete meal. I've directed movies with sequels and franchises already. I wrote this movie specifically to not be a franchise, to be able to do something that was a one-off. So he's like,
leave the mystery as a mystery. Leave it alone. Yeah.
It's a complete meal.
There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, because then you just start making the same movie over and over again.
I mean, what do you need to see that? Yeah. Hailee Steinfeld and Michael B. Jordan went out and ate people for 150, or 90 years or 80 years. Like, you don't need that. No. You know what they did.
Yeah. You could guess.
Ate people in different clothes.
Yeah. You don't need to know every single thing. You could just imagine that story. What did you think of Coogler's direction? Not his writing, because I know we both kind of talked a little bit about the writing.
I loved his direction in this. I thought it was really clever. From the moment that you see when Annie and Smoke are talking in her hut, and she starts talking about the hoodoo and they do you still have your mojo bag? And then he asked why her magic didn't work to save their son. There's that little bit of smoke coming off of both of them, and it's like really subtle. I thought that was really cool. And I'm like, oh, that's really neat. And then when they're driving in the car with, what's Delroy Lindo's character's name?
Delta Slim,
right? Delta Slim, Sam, and Stack are driving in the car, and they're talking about his blues. And you hear the blues really small on the car. You think it's the car radio. And they're talking, then it gets louder as Delta Slim's like, yeah, we made it big, me and my crew, took us on the road, we're playing. And then, my buddy took all his cash out at once. The Klan found him. And then you start hearing the mob of people shouting. And then you hear the noose coming down and then the hangman's noose. I thought that was really, really well done. I thought that was really cool. And I love the I Lied to You song, where Sam starts playing and all the different generations of souls kind of chime in, and they're all in the party together and the barn burns down. And that's basically our interpretation of how Remick is able to see everybody through the barn. I thought that was amazing. I think his direction in this is Like I know everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, Black Panther is his best movie," but I think as of right
Who's
now,
saying
this is
that?
Oh, I'm sure everybody's thinking is like that's his best movie. But
Black Panther is one of my favorite MCU films. Yes,
sure.
But
the directing in this
is not
is
his best film.
Is so good. Yeah, I think his directing is top notch in this film.
Yeah, I like the scene you're talking about is when they're repeating the parable or the story from the beginning of the film, where like, you know, someone's music is so pure that it not only evokes the spirits of the past but of the future. So you start having artists from the future show up in this huge one shot that they're going around, which I think is I think there's some hidden cuts in there, but there's
hidden cuts, yeah.
And they just go around to the entire juke joint, and you start seeing popular artists from today singing, and the music starts mixing. Yeah, no, that's, and then past artists and past like even not even artists, but like, you know, tribesmen and stuff like that, just playing music. So you start seeing all that. I thought it was a really nice scene, really well done. And then it goes up, and then he brings the juke joint burns down kind of thing. He brings the house down, and then and I was waiting for, in that scene, I was waiting for the rest of the story, where like, and then sometimes, you know, evil's listening too, but they don't say it. But that's cool because I'm waiting for that, and then they show that you see Remick, and you're like, okay, there it is. Like, yeah, so I think that was done well too. No, I agree with you. I'm a fan of Ryan Coogler's work. Fruitvale Station's really good. It's always, when you have a director that's very confident in his storytelling techniques and confident in telling the story, that it really shows. And there's a confidence in shot selection and choices, even when they go to the grocery store, and he tells her, go get your mother, and you follow the daughter. And it's kind of like almost like a Scorsese Spike Lee shot, where they're behind her. She crosses the street. It's like a one shot. She goes, gets her mother. Her mother comes back, and the camera's with her. Like, that's a very confident shot. And when you watch it, you really just stand. You're like, I'm paying attention. So it's a shot that kind of gets you like into the movie. It gets you like, hey, listen, you know, this is not just a run-of-the-mill Friday film. This is something, you know, this is done by an artist, a craftsman. So I think that was down. I agree with you. I don't want to keep this long. We're trying to keep these short. So I guess I want to ask you how much you love this film. Like, how into this movie are you?
I'm pretty into this movie. Like, it ended, I was like, I like it. And then I got in my car. I was like, I think I really like it. Then I described it to Elise, and I was like, I was describing it to her pretty excitedly. Like, I was describing the traveling scene, the I lied to you scene with the spirits, and I was describing Remick, and I was describing, you know, he plays Rocky Road to Dublin, and ate poor Robin clean, and like, it's just I just like, I think I really like this film. And then today I reposted our story on my own story, and I said top 5 favorite vampire films, and I think it's up there. Like, it might be 5. I don't know, but it's really, really good. It really works for me. And I think part of that is I do like blues. Like, I'm not like a blues super fan. I can't name you every artist, but, you know, whenever I'm making dinner or washing the dishes, I listen to blues a lot. And I'm a huge Irish music fan, you know, come around St. Patrick's Day and stuff. It at least gets tired of it, but I keep playing it. So like, those two things, like, it hits me in all the right places. It's obviously, I talk ad nauseum in our vampire episodes about how they're my favorite kind of monsters, because you could do so much. And I think Remick's a great example of that. You know, we haven't even talked about like Remick and what he's after, and the fact that, you know, he's eating people, so he's bad, but nothing else he does is really bad. He tells the truth. He's honest. It does seem like he's looking for unity and equality and togetherness. Like, everything he's doing is almost good.
Well, he's manipulative.
And I think that's so interesting.
He's manipulative, trying to get into the juke joint to eat everyone, and I get it. He's trying to get Sammy. Right.
But he wants to build his clan up again. That's the one thing I didn't understand, is exactly what he wanted Sammy for. He wanted him to call his ancestors, but they didn't really say for what.
Well, I think he wants him so he can sing like him, so that he can visit his ancestors again. I think that's what it made it seem like.
Okay, that's what I was assuming, but I wasn't positive.
Right. That's what it made it seem like. Like, he wanted him to be so he could sing. And I guess, see the people that he has long lost or something like that. So
which makes sense because you get the feeling he's very old.
I don't know if it's like a gateway to the underworld. They'll come back. I just think he wants to see them,
have that connection. Yeah.
Right. And he's very manipulative in terms of just trying to get in there. He's trying to talk to, convince Smoke and them like the world has turned your back on you. The whole idea about how they were sold the juke joint, but it was just they were sold by the Grand Wizard of the Clan who's just going to come back and kill them and take it back and stuff like that. Right. So he like reveals that, which is how you get your ending, where Smoke comes out and just starts blowing them away.
Which is awesome.
Well, I mean, come on. If anyone deserved it. So it's, I was a little, so you're saying that you like this better than Nosferatu that we watched. Cause you liked Nosferatu.
I did. Nosferatu grew on me as well. That's another one. Well, Nosferatu, I still think the beginning's a little too slow. But I would say if I had to do my top 5 vampire films right now, in no particular order, it would be Blade, Bram Stoker's Dracula, this film. Is it Nosferatu? It might be Nosferatu. And then probably From Dusk Till Dawn.
Really? So probably. No Near Dark. No, Near Dark. Not From Dusk Till Dawn. I knew I was missing one. I was like, there's one other one because I came up with the list in my head when I said top 5. Yeah, Near Dark. Near Dark is probably my number 1. But this has kind of, because it's not a straight up action vampire kind of film or straight up horror, it's got a lot of Near Dark kind of vibes to it, I think. So you're not a Vampire in Brooklyn fan?
No, that's the Eddie Murphy one, right?
Yeah. You don't like Interview the Vampire? I know you don't like Lost Interview. Boys.
I don't really like Lost Boys.
I know Fright Night, the remake of Fright Night.
The remake of Fright Night would kind of be like number 6. The remake of Fright Night.
You like Blade, but because I think Blade 2 is a better movie, but that's fine.
Everybody loves Blade 2 better. I think Blade 2 is better action, but I was never sold on the vampire monsters with the mandibles. Like I just want my vampires. Once they're attacking predators, I was kind of like,
Whoa.
It's not bad. It's got better action than Blade 1 for sure.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going through seeing. Yeah, I mean, there's like a lot of vampire films that are like what's the word I'm looking for?
Decent,
fun or like fun, but like of the time, so you kind of like get into them. But I don't even know if you've seen any of these. Did you ever see The Invitation?
Oh, that's recent, right?
Yeah. Oh, I know. Underworld's an action film, so that doesn't count. But I like Underworld.
Straight up action. It's fun.
Yeah. 30 Days a Night, which we did for the show. So yeah, I guess Twilight, of course. You love Twilight, so.
Oh yeah.
And you like Shadow the Vampire. You're big on that.
I do like Shadow the Vampire, but that's almost 100%. I like Willem Dafoe because we talked about it in that episode. Fine. That movie's got a lot of issues. But no, I mean, I think. As time goes by, I might see the things that you see that are just like kind of takes the movie down for me. But my only complaints are kind of like the plot holes with the vampires, her calling people in when it's not her house or not her juke joint.
Yeah, but that's
not
whatever.
Really knowing Remix thing, but like the way the music blends, the way they really build it up. Like the look of the vampires, I really like.
I thought that the Native Americans would come back at the end.
Oh, me too.
They set that whole thing up, and I was like, okay, so they're gonna come back and save the day, but like we just kind of like forget that, and which I get it, it's not their story, but I kind of I would have liked to known that story.
Yeah, they're clearly demon hunters. They know what he is.
Right.
And then and they burned him because he's running at night. Oh no, it's sundown. He's running through the light. Yeah. Never mind. Yeah, they're chasing him in the light. But I agree.
Which begs the question: how he could last that? Maybe because the sun was down, it wasn't full strength. Maybe that's why.
Down and it was.
He was smoking and he was burnt. But at the end of the film, he gets hit by the sun and it's immediate. He's on fire.
Yeah,
that might be like. Done. That might be the strength of the sun. It's a rising sun. Whatever. That's just nitpicking. I don't want to do that to this film. I think this would be a good film to revisit like in a couple years. I mean, I don't think it's going to be forgotten. I think people are going to obviously know this film. I'm surprised I know it's a Monday in April. I'm surprised it wasn't that busy. And I kind of think this is a summer film. I don't think this is an April film. But I know, like, Warner Brothers has other films coming out. So
it was originally going to be a March film.
Yeah, I just think this is a summer movie. I think this is like a really good summer film. It takes place in this heat in the summer. It feels like a nice summer horror film.
Yeah,
that could really have legs in the summer.
Well, like you said, there's a lot of stuff coming out this summer. I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming out now. I mean, right. I think that because of the strikes, everything's kind of condensed. But I mean, it made it's what made the most that any original IP has made in over a decade.
Sure.
Well, it's opening weekend, so it's doing well. Could it have done better in the summertime? Yeah. I don't know.
That has a lot to say in just terms of what Hollywood puts out, which is just remake after, Fast Furious.
It's all remakes, sequels. Yeah. Based on a video game.
Yeah. No, totally. It's nice to see. It's good to see. You want more of it, but I think you also want the modern day cinema studio expectations need to just change, because it's never going to be like it was pre-pandemic, and especially with streaming. So you just need to adjust your thinking and like what's a hit and what's not a hit. This is clearly a hit. It'll make its money, but this is clearly a hit. So yeah, cool. So we both like it. We both enjoyed our watching, even though the movie was not a fully on frame sham in your theater. Do you have anything else that we didn't bring up that you want to kind of talk about, or?
No, not really. Like the movie, like the music, like the way it looked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go see it.
Definitely recommend it. Yeah, definitely go see it in the theater. We didn't see it in IMAX. It's if you see it in IMAX, it's shot with IMAX cameras. We didn't see it in IMAX just because of the time, and it was it's a longer film, but it's definitely shot for IMAX cinemas. So if you can check it in IMAX, it's a different look. They shot on 70 millimeter film stock, so it's
Chris Nolan had to kind of advise a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, we didn't even get into it, but there is a lot of if you go in, there's a lot of stuff about the print itself and like what he does to the print visually and how he processes it and stuff like that and what they use. So there's a lot of cool stuff out there. So if you're interested, check that out. But yeah, Mike, why don't you do our little where they can find us?
You can find us at ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts. You're watching us, listening to us, all that kind of stuff right now. Go ahead, like, rate, subscribe, all that kind of stuff really helps the podcast grow. What are your top 5 favorite vampire movies? If you want to support us further, you can go on Patreon. We have a Patreon. We have exclusive episodes, early access to some episodes, a Discord, merch discounts, stickers, and just like we keep up and post everything like we're doing and that we have done on the Patreon. So even if you subscribe to the free Patreon, you kind of get a good feel of what we're releasing, when and where.
Yeah, and then our next now showing is going to be The Accountant 2. I don't know if we're doing a lead up. We're not, right? We're just doing it now.
No, because we did The Accountant.
We did it for the show. I always think that. Yeah. Well, we didn't. We did The Accountant. It's not a video, so it's a straight regular
audio,
podcast. Yeah. But you can check that out. That's on YouTube. It'll just be the still frame. But you'll hear us. You can find us where Mike had already just said that. And so our next one is going to be Accountant 2, and I think after that we're going to do Mission Impossible: Reckoning, right? Final Reckoning. Is that our next one?
I believe so. If we're not doing Final Destination, I
don't know. We didn't finish. We didn't do. Are we? Well, you know what? Don't worry about that. Our next one's The Accountant 2. You can check out our latest episode, which I'm sure is out. We're in depending on when you're listening to this, you're either listening to season 20 or season 21 coming up. So that's us. So thank you for watching us stumble through our Sinners talk. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema, now showing.